But if y'all ready, then I'm ready.
Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Welcome back.
Yet another week in another weekly installment of Prism Black Podcast. Get a round of applause. Thank you. Thank you. You're far too kind. Far too kind. What up? It's your man's William H, aka Murphy's Law 615, aka Free Will. Yeah, I've added another alias to the roster. Check that out, Banks.
And I am Banks himself, aka the guy in the glasses, aka these are not real glasses, aka I can see without them. Glad to be here.
Yes. And I'm Carl Tomlinson, aka the lone Jedi of the group.
Yeah.
AKA soon to be dead, because Jedi must die.
All Jedi must die. Of course, that's metaphoric, guys. We're not plotting on killing Carl, nothing like that sort.
I am.
That's okay. I'm not surprised by that. But I expect nothing less from a couple of Sith, but that's okay.
Hey man.
Yo, remember how he used to not want to acknowledge us as Sith, calling us gray area? Now he's straight. He putting some respect on it now. You see that?
Put some respect on those red lightsabers, all right?
You see that?
He called us orange lightsabers, bro. I'll never forget that.
Wait, y'all are still orange lightsaber Sith. No, we're not. I'm just saying Sith now.
I just told you I'm plotting to kill everybody on your side.
Yo,
I'm not
he done switched that tone up real quick. You see that,
I'm not orange.
That's
I'm
crazy.
Blood garnet red.
Yo, how's everybody doing this week, man?
Doing good. I got a lot of stuff to do, but yeah, man, I'm doing good. Just busy, but not, overwhelmed. So just getting stuff done, man. Happy
I'm doing all right. Can't complain.
Okay.
Word. I mean, I'm having a bit of a rough go at it, but it is what it is. Sunshine and rainbows is the attitude, right? So,
I'm sorry to hear that.
Where'd you get this incriminating picture? My wife clearly has been taking pictures of me in my sleep. It's threatening to post them on Facebook if I don't buy her some Louis Vuittons.
No, that's not creepy at all.
No, I can't get jiggy with that. She's gonna have to get it in blood.
Yo, she blackmailing you for Louis Vuittons. Like, of all the things to
That's all right. I'm gonna get her some fake ones. She be all right.
You got it crazy. Hey, she don't know. We flea market kids around here, man. Most of my back to school shopping was done right down at the flea market. So no shame in that.
And all the FUBU jerseys.
That's how I hear. That's how I came up. all the iceberg t-shirts with the B-boots.
Once I got in high school, I had to stop doing that. If somebody was to ever bust me out in high school,
that was a good thing I transferred to a. It's a good thing I got up. Ended up going to a private school to finish high school for a little bit, because that phase of my life, I was trying to wear that. It was getting ugly. It was gonna get real ugly for a minute.
So yeah, no bitches. That's what I would have had.
Man, high school. It doesn't seem like high school was that long ago, but it really fuck was.
You said what, bro?
It doesn't seem like high school was that long ago. Like when I think about in my head the memories, but when I chronologically lay it, I was like, oh, it was a while ago. that was like, damn near 20 years at this point.
College was 2013. That's damn near 10 years ago.
College for who?
Me, that's when I graduated.
I dropped out in 2011. Yeah, I forgot about that.
We did that one, dog. That wasn't me, bro. My hand's right here. My hand's right here. That was Shaquay. I mean, you can always go back.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if I need to these days. I want to for personal reasons, but that's a whole nother rabbit hole. The transformation in workplace careers, it's wild. But not to get off topic, we got shit to talk about. What's new this week?
I finally watched the trailers for the Wolverine game. I know we talked about it before, but I finally watched the whole thing, and I finally watched all of God of War Ragnarok trailer. Like I've seen some parts of it before, but then like today I watched all of it. So
What
yeah.
you think?
I think they're gonna skip a lot of Ragnarok. I think they're gonna skip a lot of leading up to Ragnarok and just go straight into it, or try to prevent it. I don't know. I think it's gonna happen. I think it's gonna happen in the game, and I think some of the events already are gonna. Like when you start the game, I think some of the events of Ragnarok are already gonna be happening. So I think they're gonna Kratos and Tyr's gonna join forces and try to stop it, but I think Tyr's gonna betray Kratos.
I
I
feel
think
like this second game is going to be the because the first game ends with the prophecy telling that they're going to bring about Ragnarok. So I
Mhm.
kind of feel like this second game is going to be the events, like like you just exactly what you said, everything leading up to, and probably the kickstart. Because if it's anything to mirror like the original trilogy, second game is going to be a lot of the connection, and then third game will kind of be a final wrap
Well,
up. Right?
that's the thing. This one's not going to be a trilogy. They
Oh,
said
it's not
no. They said this one's supposed to be the last one of
really.
the
Oh, that's
yeah
it.
of the Norse mythology. It's supposed to be only two games, and it
Oh,
said because it takes
I
too
was
long.
expecting more. My
Yeah,
bad.
that's what I
I was
was
expecting
too.
because we only got Boulder. Last game we didn't even get half of
Yeah,
not even expecting a full Norse mythology thing, but just in general, we got maybe one or two gods introduced. Freya was introduced, but
yeah.
like I was expecting them to open the door. Thor, of course, they teased. We could have, I'm thinking Odin, Thor, you know, his son actually becomes Loki, maybe some fraud, it's just there was
Yeah,
a lot more that they could have done for a third. So I was kind of expecting a little more, but I guess not.
yeah, me
Oh
too.
well.
I think they did. They said from what I heard, they were doing it because the first game took 5 years to make. This one took four. They're not
Mm.
trying to wait another 5 years to put a game out, so they're gonna end it with this one instead of stretching it to three.
I mean, do we care if it takes another 5 years at the rate
Some
that
people might.
no, but the quality that games have transformed. Like think about GTA, Red Dead 2. Like we've like GTA 6 is what they're working on now. It's been when was GTA 5 released?
Bro, GTA 5 came out on PS3, so that was at least 2013 because I was still in
Oh,
Nashville
yeah.
when it. I was still in 20. I was still in Nashville when it came out because my now wife bought it for me. We stood in line together. So yeah, it was definitely. I wasn't in the military yet.
I feel like God of War is a big enough franchise, and this isn't every game. Only certain franchises can pull this off. Where like Resident Evil is one. The gap between Resident Evil 6 to 7, then 7 to 8, they shorten that, but it's like if we know you're going to deliver the quality game, the gaming community is proven time and time again. We'll wait. Like
Yeah.
we'd rather you put the work and effort in and deliver and over deliver than hype it up and undersell us and underwhelm us when it drops, which has been the
Call of
case on
Duty.
a few. Yeah, Call of Duty is notorious for that. Madden has become notorious for that. Certain RPGs, the hype, they just don't live up to Marvel versus Capcom in recent years. Which did you see? That's something new. They are
Yeah, doing the
rebooting,
revival of the pretty much a HD version of Marvel's Capcom 2.
which is the greatest game of the series, if you ask me personally.
Yeah.
I mean, Ultimate 3 is not a bad game.
Yeah,
Enjoy
3
the,
is good too.
just we was missing some key characters, and Marvel
Yeah.
vs. Capcom 2 with a 3D makeover and that fighting engine that they upgraded to with 3. I'm here for it.
Yeah, they definitely missed the mark on the characters on 3. Cause I
Well,
was
Ultimate 3 kind of they revamped that and gave
yeah,
us
but it's
the
like even
expanded
then, it's
roster.
like bro, like Marvel vs. Capcom 2 had like 80 characters on that bitch.
Yeah. That's true. And the three-way fight,
Yeah,
that the
so it's
triple,
like
and with the 2 assists, it was really like a 5-on-5.
yeah, so it's like you could really string up some mean combos on there if you really
Mean
know how to play.
combos, dog.
If you really know how
It's
to play.
nigga. I'm bringing back. What's your old school team up?
My old school team up is Gambit, Wolverine, Magneto, and then I'll bring in Juggernaut and Sentinel for like supports.
I had to roll with Iron Man, definitely some version of Gambit, and I usually alternate with Jin, Captain Commando,
Jim,
um, Wolverine. Just it really depends on the mood with the combos because you could get creative. Morgan, you know I love Morgan, but like you could really get creative with Marvel's Capcom 2 with stringing Cable. I hated Cable as a character, but as a fighter, like fighting against him as a usable character, where Cable could wreck hell. Like you could really string
he wasn't really good like as a character you play with. Like from my experience, he wasn't somebody who he was like
some niggas unleashed some mean ass combos on me with Cable, dog. Like
because Cable,
but he was complex. He wasn't easy to execute.
Yeah.
You had to, if you knew how to use him, you could. You know what I mean?
But then Wolverine was everybody's favorite. One of them.
Who was your? Did you have a team, Carl, that you usually ran with?
It was usually Wolverine, Gambit, and Spider-Man.
I suck with Spider-Man. I've tried really hard to get good with him. I just don't like his combos.
You got to get his combos on though, because
for me, it wasn't necessarily about getting good. I just picked people who are like my favorite characters. Like
this man said, "I'm going with what makes me feel good. I don't care if I win or lose."
I'm trying to kick ass because
I'm trying to get that dub, bro.
Try to hurt you, Megan. You could do some. You could get real creative with some of them combos. Like Venom wasn't on that one. Wait, was Venom on Marvel's Capcom 2?
Yeah, he was on 2.
Yeah, they brought Venom was nasty too. You could do some things with Venom on that joint too.
But my real team, if I was really trying to like brawl out, my real team, Akuma, Ken, and Ryu. Like if I was really trying to get in your face,
dog, you can't lose, bro. Like Ryu and Ken is deadly enough on any team up, but Akuma, like that's some power.
Yeah. If I was really trying to get in your face and just strike, I'm going Akuma, Ken, and Ryu.
See, I got to get a team to keep some distance on that ass. So Gambit, probably Iron Man, and I probably run with Jen against that matchup. Anything that's gonna give me or Strider because the distance. I got to keep the long distance because if you get Ken, Ryu, any of them get too close, it's a RZA.
Yeah,
it's a wrap, man. But while we on the subject, segue that. I'd like to take a moment. RIP to Melvin Van Peebles. He passed away today. Or Melvin Van Peebles, Mario Van Peebles' dad.
Oh, Mario Van Peebles. Okay, he died.
His father passed away.
Oh man, that's rough.
Which his dad is an icon. And his writer, actor, composer, director. I mean, his movie, Sweetback's badass song. Kind of kicked the door off the hinges of the blaxploitation cinema movement. Yeah, we lost the real one with that. And I didn't come up under Melvin. Of course, I grew up when his son, Mario Van Peebles, was making a lot of movies in the 90s. So that's how I got wind of Melvin. But my mom knew about Melvin. So just he is a legend. If you didn't know, take some time to look up him and his son, what they've done, just the achievements, the family there. They're Black Hollywood royalty, much up there with the Wayans family, I would say. The Joneses, Quincy and them. I mean, Quincy just in entertainment in general, but Lathan, Sanaa Lathan's dad, is it Stan Lathan?
Sanaa Lathan's dad died?
No, just when I say up there in Black Hollywood royalty, like like people, the town, Townsend's, like people who've done a lot. Yeah, Van Peebles is up there. So rest in power to that brother. A lot of new comics. A lot. The Trial of Magneto I'm following, which picks up after the events of the Hell Gala. Scarlet Witch gets murdered, or does she?
Hold on, you said Scarlet Witch got murdered in the gala?
Somebody killed Scarlet Witch at the Hell Gala. But so a lot of shit's been going on, and I'll catch y'all up. But anything new on the comics front, anime, anything like that for y'all? Excuse me, I gotta get to that pizza. I was asking, is there anything new for y'all before I get into these comics?
No, like I haven't. I haven't even read Gala yet. I need to though.
So I have to go back and retro read that because there's a whole series of events that daisy chained up to this, and
I'm gonna go this weekend.
several events are taking place that are all leading up to these major story arc lines.
Yeah,
Like the Last Annihilation is happening because I picked up the only copy of Wakanda Last Annihilation. So it's a 6 or 7 parts issue, but it's told it's a cross story. So you've got an issue in Wakanda, an issue in Wiccan and Hulk, an issue in an X-Men issue. Like it's just across several of the major story arcs right now. And this last Annihilation, I picked up that and a variant. Features M'Baku, a story about M'Baku, son of M'Baku, making some noise. So go
some
pick
good
that
noise
up.
or bad noise?
No, good. He did good. Son of M'Baku, because T'Challa is still alive in this story. But the events of Last Annihilation take place.
Bro, what is it?
I don't know. That wasn't me. Is that you, Carl?
Yeah, sorry about that.
Oh, I thought somebody was in your house. I said, get the gat.
The Me You Love in the Dark, a new horror comic. Artiste rents a house that looks like a big bag of nope. Something goes bump in the night, starts talking. It's a ghost, and she thinks she's falling in love with a ghost. She's looking for inspiration, but turns out it's some sort of weird demony thing. But we're gonna see. We're gonna see how that unfolds.
What's the name of that one?
The Me You Love in the Dark.
Okay.
Finished Eve, Victor LaValle's 5-part story of the little black girl who ended up saving the world. It was really good. It was that Truman story-esque where her entire life she's been training, preparing for something, only to wake up out of a kind of a container, a tank she was sleeping in, hibernating. Mm-hmm. And all of her training was a simulation for an actual real mission, because I've noticed this recurrent theme of kind of modern Extinction Level where the climate change has unfolded to what, they say it's going to come to fruition. Sea levels have risen. So she's in what used to be Manhattan. Most of it's underwater, but the heat made the planet kind of heat up, and it triggered some tectonic shifting, earthquake shit like that. So we lost a lot, but her dad, black scientists, and a couple other scientists were up in space, and they kind of figured out a way for her to save us. So she sets out on an adventure with an android that her dad left with her that took the form of a teddy bear for her, something comfortable. And it's a really good story about redemption, salvation, and loss. Because it's if you've seen After Earth, that's kind of how it is. Her dad, by the time she wakes up, he's left an AI, all this stuff to guide her along her way. And while she, traverses the terrain of what's now Earth, she runs into survivors, and there's danger present, zombie-esque like dangerous stuff. So it's be on the lookout for that. Victor LaValle, because circling back to our redemption episode, we talked about black writers we were going to explore and get into. Victor LaValle's one. He wrote Changeling, but he's solid. Eve was a solid story. That's I believe a Boom Studios comic. And I'm caught up on Philadelphia.
I need to go. I seen the new Philadelphia 15
number
cover.
17. Yeah, number 17 just came out.
Is it 17 or 15? Wait, that was, I don't know. Was that 15 I saw, or was it just?
I posted number 17, a variant of number 17, but 17 hit today. It's new comic Wednesday. King Spawn number 2, Ordinary Gods, Philadelphia 17. But you can get the trades for Philadelphia 1 and 2, volumes 1 and 2. That'll give you issues 1 through 12 and single issues 13 up to 17, which I've collected everything except 14. So I'm looking forward to starting Philadelphia. Dark Blood number 3 also came out today. That's LaToya Martin. I like this comic, Dark Blood. I like it a lot. This is another black artist, black writer.
What's the image?
Dark Blood. Let me quick Google, because if you hadn't asked me, I probably could have right off the top of my head, my brain just froze. I want to say Dark Blood is an Image comic.
So Philadelphia.
No, that's Boom. That's Boom. Another Boom Studios. Boom Studios.
So Philadelphia 17 is when the guy's looking up into the sky and you see the galaxy in his eyes, right?
That could be one variant. I'm not
Okay.
sure what actually if that was a cover for 17 or if that was.
I'm just trying to make sure I'm not um I'm not looking at an old one thinking it's the new one. So I need to
Yo, the
go
artwork for Philadelphia, all of the covers are sick though.
yeah.
Like all of the covers are sick. Dark Blood, the first two issues give you it's exactly what I thought it was. He's a guy came home from war. We all know how that went. Something happened. He's got powers. Issue number 3 might show us how he got his powers. It's a 6-part story, so we're halfway through, but we're
It's
about to
only 6
explore what he
issues?
can do. Yeah, 6. Well, in the first run, I don't know if it's going to be a one and done or first season or what, but we'll see. But it's good so far, and I've gotten 2 variant covers with that. I like that they're doing some real dope creative stuff with the artwork visually.
Is Dark Blood is that his last name, Damien Darkblood, or no?
No,
Because there's a Dark Blood in Invincible. Now that I think about it,
no, that's just the name of the comic. Our protagonist is Avery Aldrich.
Bro, you gonna maybe go to the comic book store this weekend.
Do it. It's good to catch up on shit. It's been real therapeutic for me. I dove into Porcelain. That's another horror comic. I was enamored with the cover art, and maybe next episode we'll start showing some of these as we talk about them. But only 2 issues out there. Cold Dead War. How's this for a premise? Bunch of war dudes go off to war. World War II again. Some shit happens. Guy comes home. Only all his war buddies are still with him, but they're all zombies living in his basement. but they
Is this a horror or a comedy?
Yeah, it's a horror, but it's like we don't know what's gonna unfold. It's only 4 issues, so I had to back order number 3. I've got 3 coming. I've got issue number 4, but like the story is opening up, and I'm kind of trying to figure out where it's going because obviously he's alive. And it's like, all right, so where's the what you call it? He opens the door and he feeds them, and they have a whole conversation. Like they're downstairs, they're alive. We know they're conscious. They're not like bloodlust thirsty. But I have a feeling they probably can get that way if he sicks them.
If they don't eat.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, we don't know yet, but it's an interesting premise. And yeah, check out Cold Dead War because this is Romero. What's the last one? I'm sorry I'm going on a rant, but I wanted to really let people know the comics out there that are popping because a lot of this shit is going. Oh, Infinite Frontier.
I've never heard of that one. Have you talked about that one before?
We've mentioned it. And we talked about I Am Batman, right? Because I Am Batman is picking up with the story of Jace Fox, Lucius Fox's son, assuming the mantle of Batman. So we're 3 issues in on that. I Am Batman 0, 1, and 2. But Infinite Frontier is a 6-part limited series that spans across the DC multiverse. That is, so essentially what just happened in the DC universe is we just had a rebirth. They just had another reset on everything, triggered by the events of Death Metal, the Batman Who Laughs, Genesis, and I think Generations and Future State. So all of these events came together because I had the first issue of Batman Who Laughs. It's dark. The Dark Knight series, Death Metal, they wrecked some shit, but the entire multiverse has just been reborn. So that's why we have the Icon Rocket, Static, Wonder Girl, all of these, the Milestone, like all of this reboot, kickoff, all of this because the multiverse has hit a reset, right? There you go, Carl. So Infinite Frontier is spanning across the multiverse. Darkseid is up to something. We've got a Black Lantern introduction, but we've got President Superman, who is Calvin Ellis, Black Superman. And DC's on to something with this, man. This Infinite Frontier story, it's done, but the things that it's kind of opened the door to and the story that they're telling, like, I'm really sold on it, bro. It's surprisingly good. And I just wish that this translated the writing and the comics for DC because it's flawless. I wish this translated in the cinematic universe of them.
Yeah, how do you feel about Batman Who Laughs being who he ends up being in the end?
I didn't finish the whole thing.
Okay.
I only picked up the one and thought it was a one-off. So who is it? You can go ahead and tell me because I'm gonna have to go back and try to find trades. Oh, it's Bruce. Well, I know it was Bruce Wayne from the jump. He got gassed. I have that in the first issue.
Okay. But yeah,
did you not know that?
I didn't know it until the end.
Oh yeah, it was Bruce Wayne. I say I have the first issue of that, which okay. In a fight in that Earth, in a fight with Joker, he gets hit or something happened. Like he locks Joker up, or something happened. Joker, I forgot if he died or he ended up locked in Arkham, but somehow Bruce had been exposed to this newer version of the toxin or something like that, and he maintains a solid consciousness because he ends up turning the whole Bat family like right off the bat. That's the first order of business. He's aware that he's got this, and Batman usually prepares, like trains or plants, trains his consciousness to kind of withstand toxins or certain hypnosis, certain shit, right? This time he wasn't prepared. So he succumbs, turns the Bat family, and all hell breaks loose. So
yeah, I really like Batman Who Laughs. And I really like the character design for him too. Just like with the spike going across his face. And
so you know who that was? Greg Capullo was a part of that, and Capullo. And he's a long time illustrator with Spawn. So if you notice some similarities in the strokes of the pen there,
the extra spikes everywhere.
That's definitely a connection there. But Infinite Frontier is worth checking out, and it just really solidifies not only how much of a threat, no matter what version of Superman it is, because Black Superman is badass in every aspect of the word, and he does a lot more than what I think we've seen our Clark Kent do in terms of managing day to day. But also, Darkseid is just scary, like in every sense of the word.
Have they changed Darkseid's appearance in the new universe, multiverse?
Is there anything? I mean, does he need to look anything other than death penalty?
I mean, I'm just asking, since they're
that's still Darkseid, but a little more intimidating, a little more darker, if you want to say that. Like, the way this comic is illustrated, it's he's a little bit more brooding, I think. Yeah.
Does Darkseid look like Omega Red to you?
Nah. You don't look like Omega Red.
If Omega Red didn't have any hair, he would look just like Darkseid.
I'm thinking about the tentacles and shit too, though. Like
I'm talking about the face, like the head. Like if Omega Red didn't have hair, he would look just like Darkseid.
I feel like Darkseid looks a little bit like Apocalypse.
Yeah, he does look like Apocalypse, but Omega Red looks like Apocalypse. It's just different colors.
I never thought about it.
Well, that's just Darkseid. Also, that's his astral projection. His true form, he's like a blinding light-ish or something like that. Yeah, I know Darkseid is a god, like a literal god.
Yeah, of a king of Acropolis,
well, no, he exists in his true form exists inside of another dimension. What we see in most of the adventures where the Justice League deals with him is an astral projection into their universe, which he has the ability to do simultaneously across multiple universes. However, he is constricted in his form by the rules of that universe. So he's never really at full power 100% of the time that he's being presented. And he still manages to be a problem and threat.
And he still got killed by a bullet.
He didn't die. That didn't
kill him. It was so stupid.
So it's a projection. So that's not him. He's not dying. Even Superman at any given time is only fighting, I think, like a fourth of Darkseid's actual power. And like Superman is in Superman's universe, he's able to best him, but Superman would stand a chance in Darkseid's actual.
Like bro, all that power, and Batman shot him and killed him.
Plot MacGuffin. What story was that?
This was in the when he was looking for like the life equation.
No, the anti-life equation, which he's always in search of.
Yeah, well, he actually found it. Well, he was in search of it, and Batman shot him with a magic bullet, and it killed him. I was pissed.
So that's what I love about Infinite Frontier, because we had this total reset. Are you familiar with the Psycho Pirate?
The what?
The Psycho Pirate. He's the guy in DC that looks like a court jester. black and red outfit, covered on his head, open face. So his power is he has the power to manipulate, I guess, all like reality or whatever. He exists. He's known as the Lonely Man, but he moves about through dimensions, universes, whatever, in towns to towns. And if you happen to come upon him and you answer his 3 questions, he'll share with you a bit of his power. But if you don't answer the questions correctly, we see what happens. He seals people up in reality. Like it's surreal to see it illustrated how a character can pull the comic down and like shut the blinds on somebody and seal them into their reality and throw them away. But he exists at that's illustrated to show that he exists outside of the DC reality. So even at the end of time, before time, all times, that's his curse with his power. He can't be destroyed. He will live through it all and see it all forever. In Infinite Frontier, Darkseid is at the end of all time waiting. It's like, God, because the anti-life equation would be at the end of time. So, so he manages to pull the psycho power, because the psycho power is up there in terms of power. But Darkseid manages to convert him. Darkseid's idea of conversion, like, nigga, you're going to be my parademon or my liege or whatever, but you under me now. So, it's a good story, dude. Like, they are doing some, this makes for the perfect setup of if DCEU hopes to reestablish some sort of comeback in the box office.
Yeah, just start over.
They cooking with some shit with this one.
I'm begging them to start over.
They are absolutely cooking with this one. The Batman is Thomas one. And the story works. There's a lot of changes and stuff like that, but it's a well done story, 6-part. Watch it, read it if you can. So.
Because
I said enough there. Y'all want to introduce the topic?
Yeah, we can, but let me say this real quick.
I was gonna talk about my trip to the US Open. That was new for me. But
when you
do that, Carl. Yeah, please do that, please.
Because I've never been to a sporting event like that. So yeah.
And I'm so sorry that I took up all that time, y'all.
No, that's cool, man. I actually lean and depend on you more for like comic book knowledge, because I feel like you're more versed in that realm, more so than me. But about, I would say about almost 2.5, maybe 3 weeks ago, I went to New York to the U.S. Open. I'm a huge tennis fan. Been playing since I was 6, all the way up until college. So I've always had a love for tennis, and I told myself I was actually going to go in 2019, but COVID just wrecked everything. So they didn't have fans, so had to postpone it for a year. But long story short, man, a great experience. I know. I would recommend it for anybody. If you're a sports fan, you need to go. If you like tennis, you need to go, because let's see, I guess the best way I can describe it is it's worth the money. Like if you just want the experiments, you can buy like the cheapest tickets and watch professionals from 11 to 7 o'clock at night, and you can see pretty much anybody who you want. There are a lot of Black players there, so I was especially looking forward to this year. I got to watch Francis Tiafoe, who's a Black player. He's an American. I got to see Felix. His name is Felix. I can't pronounce his last name because it's kind of French, but he's a Black player from Canada. I got to see Gael Monfils. He's who I grew up watching play. He's from France. And a host of other players. I actually got to see the player who won the tournament this year, Medvedev. But no, it was great. I enjoyed it. I love the US Open. I always love going to New York. They have a ton of vegan restaurants. So.
I hear the vegan thing in New York is popping.
Oh, okay. You said, I heard how much were the tickets and the vegan food? What? So
no, I was just commenting that I heard the vegan scene is popping in New York.
man,
your statement. Like I've heard good things about it.
man, it is like you can, whether you're even like if you're in Queens, Brooklyn, and especially Manhattan, like you can just Google vegan restaurants near me, and a slew of them will pop up. You can go in, and man, the food is A1. But banks like tickets, like take for example, so the biggest and best stadium there is called Arthur Ashe Stadium. For people who don't know, Arthur Ashe was a black tennis player, American, who had a very promising tennis career. He actually won a Grand Slam, but but he had a surgery procedure where he contracted AIDS from. So basically, he got AIDS just from going to the hospital and having surgery. Ended up dying, but that's what the that's where the biggest and brightest stadium is. So, like, let's say if you were to buy just a normal ticket at Arthur
Mhm.
Ashe Stadium, they're about 45, $50.
Oh, okay.
And
That's
that's
Not
just
bad at
for
all.
yes, yeah. So that's just for like a normal like seating ticket. And with that ticket, you can go anywhere in the whole grounds, see anybody who you want to see play from 11 to 7 at night. And that's for like the
Oh,
first
that's like an
portion.
all day thing. You can just hang out.
Yes. That's why I say it's worth it. Like,
Yo,
and like,
how are the concessions?
so I'm not gonna lie, they get
They're
you
gonna be $15 for a hot dog. Like, is that what we
they get you at the concession stands. They
every
had some
time,
dope vegan pizza, but
every time, man, every time. Speaking of
Get your
dope vegan
popcorn,
pizza,
$32.
yeah. Speaking of dope vegan pizza, excuse me while y'all chop it up.
yeah, but banks also like let's say if you want to be closer, like have a really good seat, the tickets are like anywhere from like 120, 140. But like
That's
I
still
said,
not
that's for
bad.
like
Cause if it's like from 11 to 7 at night, like you get to be in there all day.
yeah,
Granted, you probably have to eat before you go in there, but that's still not. But just to watch the U.S. Open for 8 hours, people pay $200 and something to watch just one game.
yes,
It lasts like an
exactly.
hour of like certain other sports. So yeah.
Exactly. That's why I said. That's why I say it was worth. I mean, it was worth it to me. Like I can't speak for someone who's just like a sports fan
Hmm.
who just want to experience different sporting events. How they may feel because I mean I watch all the Grand Slams from the Australian Open that comes on at like 2 in the morning from the to all the way to like the U.S. Open. Like I'm a huge fan now.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about, dude. Do stuff you like doing. Shit, you never know.
What'd you say? I can't.
I
Wait.
said that's what I like to hear people do stuff like that. Just do stuff that they like doing. Cause you never know when that opportunity may not come again. So or you might not get the opportunity to go. Might
Yeah.
next year might not be available or whatever.
Yeah, man,
But yeah,
y'all Banks, man. The first day I was there, it was almost 90. Man, them white people were guzzling that vodka, man. I was like, bro, is it not?
it's too hot to be drinking, dog.
Yes, brother. I was thinking I'm like, Jesus, Jim, like it's almost 90. Like, what?
Yeah, it's too hot to be doing. Like if my drinks ain't Gatorade or water, I don't even like drinking soda when it's real hot, just cause
The
I don't.
man said, "Jesus, Jim."
90 degrees out here.
Yo,
Out here
you not gonna
drinking.
tell you're not gonna tell them not to drink or at an event, festival, whatever. Like day drinking is the vibe. But was really dope to me. Sometimes I work some of these festivals, and there are people who think like, nah, it's a little too hot for the hard stuff. We started off with like some light beers. I'm just
Yeah,
like,
light
yeah,
beer and stuff like that, but it's like
some ice
drinking
cold beers. I'm just like,
hard
okay,
vodka in 90-degree weather, bro.
good strategy.
You be sweating like no.
Heat strokes for everybody.
Yeah, you're gonna be dehydrated and hot as hell.
Oh, it catches up.
I'm
Big part
good.
of remember how much I used to drink. Big part of the reason why I stopped drinking. That shit catches up. You start feeling, especially. I mean, we all over 30 on this chat, but yeah, it's them cats that's older than me that can still pander like that. I'll be like, how? Like, how is that still a thing? But yo, we like almost an hour in. And that's just new shit. We didn't even get to the topic yet. Like, that's just general shit. So make sure you detail that when we post this, like, hey, the actual topic, like put a minute mark on it.
Yeah, I'll put a minute mark on there so we can get to today's topic, which is Malignant.
Malignant.
Y'all like that kiss sound?
What was that?
You like that?
What is it?
The kiss.
It's a button.
Chef's
It's
kiss.
a kiss.
Chef's kiss.
Yeah, can we not do that?
I'm doing it again. Fuck you.
just
No,
saying.
not really. It's never fuck you, Will. You're my broski.
Nah, it's all good, fam. It's all love. It sounds weird coming through my speakers, but yeah, let's keep it with us. But Malignant, Carl, did you get a chance to watch it?
Yeah, I did. I mean,
I feel like Carl didn't like
You feel us about the end there? I just did a complete 180.
I mean, if I'm being honest,
Carl didn't like it.
if I'm being honest, I see why it's likable in a lot of different areas, but a couple of times through the movie, I was just like, oh my goodness, like what? How? I mean, I just don't. Okay. How can they not take him out or her out? Like, I just don't. I mean, I just went in the police station. Like, what? How are all of you all missing?
Oh yeah, we'll get to that. Let's let's dissect that as we get. We'll get to that part. Yeah, so alert to our listeners. What did you like the movie, Carl? You said you could see how it's likable, but I felt like there was a but there. Aside from we're gonna dissect that part. But what was the turn off for you?
So like I said before, the biggest reason why a horror movie is marketable to myself is I can see myself doing certain things. Like, I can see myself doing what they did. I can't see myself doing a lot of things that happen in the movie. Like, from the jump, like it's entertaining. Like, I'll say it's entertaining, and it kept me guessing. Because like I'm the type of, I don't try to figure out what's gonna happen. I just like to sit and like ride like a roller coaster and just enjoy it or whatnot. And so they did keep me guessing, but would I just go and just say, oh, like, hey, go to them, hey, you need to see X, Y? No, I'm not gonna do that.
Carl, 1 out of 10, what would you give it?
I give it a 6.
Okay, I thought you was about to say a 3. I can
No,
tell
it was a better story than Mortal fucking Kombat. That's for sure.
Mortal Kombat was trash.
Because when Vaughn said, I thought he was going to give it a 3. Mortal Kombat was the first movie that popped in my head. Like, yeah, that's about a 2. Like Dookie Water, yeah, that's about 2 or 3.
Yeah, Mortal Kombat was a legitimate 2 in the 2-3 area. Like,
they had one job. They had one job.
And
maybe we should dive into why on a review. But Banks, where do you stand on Malignant? I love it.
Yeah, I loved it. I'm not saying it's like one of my favorite horror movies ever, but I would definitely tell people to go watch it because I love horror movies. So like, just the kills alone before the police scene, I was like, yeah, I'm messing with this, just because I'm so just tired of like the spooky ghost story. Like, oh, something's behind you. Oh, it's nothing. I'm so tired of those movies. Like, I'm so sick. So sick.
What the fuck was that, bro?
That's how they be. Something's behind you. It's
Oh, just my shadow.
this how they be in the movies. This how they be in the movies. They be
No, right
nothing
now
moving.
in the movies, we on the pod and something gonna run across the back of your screen. What's that?
What's that? Oh, it's nothing. It's just my wife.
Then your camera get
I'm not
fucked
gonna
up.
die. It's a thriller. I don't die.
Your camera get fucked up, and that's how we know something bad happened, but we never actually see what.
Never know. And then like I come out of nowhere and I didn't die. So
At the end,
the
it
ghost
was
just
you.
knocked all the stuff off my shelves and trying to scare me. But he's actually pretty cool. So, but yeah,
Nah.
we exorcised him and he's gone and nobody died, even though a malevolent, omnipotent fucking demon was floating around my fucking house. He didn't kill anybody. Yeah, okay. So, but this movie,
Yeah, they never show the truth of what it would be if demons were actually doing the shit that they
if demons
described.
if demons was possessing you, bro, they
Hey,
killing
bro,
you
nah,
as soon as
nah.
possible. They killing you, your neighbors.
Like, yeah, every time I've seen the type of movies I prefer when a demon is unleashed or is possessing some shit, we see the demon doing some pretty hefty demoning. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Not like pushing shit around the house, lifting cupboards, and like,
I'm
nah,
gonna
bro.
knock over your fucking chair.
Like case 39, yo, that demon came to demon, bro. She
She
wasn't playing.
Throwing niggas in the stove.
Yo, she was getting at people in the car, like anybody that was interrupting the relationship. Because I think she just needed a what type of demon was it? It was an ancient one that required nurturing, though.
Yeah,
and it would drain the life force of whoever was,
Yeah, it was draining the life force of whoever was doing the nurturing until they kill themselves.
Yeah, so it's like anybody who interfered with that, you're getting fucked up today.
Yeah,
straight up. But let's get into Malignant. So
okay, yeah. So that movie is.
Well, start us at the beginning. Let's start with how it opens up.
So how they open it up was like on some making fun of old horror movies type stuff, which I found funny because we all know everybody who watches horror movies know that like the old horror.
You gotta have your mad scientist, your crazy doctor.
Hey, if you in there with a mad scientist, something bad gonna happen and it's gonna come back to bite everybody, not just the mad scientist. And they made fun of that.
Jurassic Park, Dr. Wan's experiments the entire time.
Yeah.
the dinosaurs are because of him. That's just one example. But yeah, that I love the homage to the crazy doctor. Only these doctors aren't really crazy. They're actually like normally
they're
that
not
type
crazy,
of stuff.
But they're definitely experimenting on people.
Well, I don't think they were experimenting on them. I think they were trying to. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I was just about to say I agree with you, but I don't necessarily view them as experimenting. It was just more so.
I mean, they didn't know what they was doing.
Well, I actually think they were trying to actually help.
They was trying to help her. They were still experimenting because they had no idea what they was doing.
The movie alludes to the fact that they may be, and again, the homage to Crazy Doc. Like, you get that ominous, intimidating shot of the hospital from the ground up, opening up. In this particular case, it seems like they are trying to help. Gabriel and Emily, is that her name?
I mean, you could try to help. That still don't mean you're not experimenting.
But yeah, the way they're going about it is completely.
You're not being malicious in your experiments, but you're definitely experimenting because you have no idea.
The movie suggests that they're kind of going about it in a way that's science first, maybe versus
not necessarily
her well-being. Like the end game is to help them, but I got the feeling that along the way they may be making pit stops to kind of test, like, what was the point of the electroshock therapy to Gabriel?
Yeah,
like,
in the beginning, they didn't know what they was doing. They just had
clear.
To do, let's try some stuff, see if this works.
Like, what are y'all doing to him? And we see he kind of absorbs it.
Yeah,
it looks like maybe.
Yeah,
or it powers him up. I don't know, but
I think he absorbs it, and then from the electroshock, that's where he gets his telepathic, magnetic, electric powers to talk through. Radio.
How about this, guys? I know that in the beginning, like you see them say, like in that conversation in the hallway, them talk about, oh, he's gotten out again, and it's like, again, like this has happened a few times. Well, maybe is it possible that when Gabriel was having one of his temper tantrums, that they just didn't try to calm him down with electroshock therapy?
I don't know. Whatever they was doing is pissing them off.
But to that point, Carl, it's 1993. We know electroshock therapy ain't really like not to calm nobody down, like not. And mind you, they're not giving him electroshock therapy. They're taking defibrillators and putting them to his head and just like that. Electroshock therapy, I think, would be a little less abrasive than rubbing some defibrillators and putting that up against somebody's brain. Because I think they were trying to kill him, maybe.
Yeah, I think they was trying to kill just him and not the.
Trying to figure out ways to kill him. Hence it's time to cut out the cancer.
It's time to cut out the cancer.
That was such
and they zoomed into our eyes.
It was such a cheesy, like, but on purpose. Like it was intentional. But it's like the music when she does that, like it's time to cut out the cancer. It's like, okay, Dr. Giggles and her scalpel coming to do some work. So what we see next is they fuck Gabriel up. It's not often you get
they souffled his ass, bro.
Yo, they did my man's dirty because Gabriel they're not quite Siamese twins, they're conjoined twins. But he's like a parasitic twin in the coming out the back of his sister, right? They share an upper body and brain he's kind of coming out of her back. He's got his own set of arms, his own face, but his head is out of her head, the back of her head. So he's always watching her back. They operate. They decide that there's no way to separate them without killing Emily. So they cut off Gabriel's little T-Rex arms.
Bro, they chopped that man's arms off like a sous chef at Chef Ramsay's Hell's Kitchen, bro. They cut.
Bro. They
candy man flailing, bro.
He's alive. Like he's feeling this shit. Like he's what the fuck y'all? Oh my arm! Like they are
man's like no.
What's the opening line in Iron Man 3? Tony's like, sometimes we don't realize we're creating monsters. Yeah, they Professor Utonium the fuck out of this monster. They cut off half his face.
Yeah.
What else did they do?
They cut off all his arms. They cut his face up to try to get rid of it. To get it as small as possible. And then they pushed the rest of it into the back of the girl's head. And
the back of her head, bro.
And then closed it up with her skull. So it's like
never seen that shit before, by the way.
That's what I don't. That's one of the biggest parts I don't understand. If you're going to pretty much get rid of him, why would you not take out the piece of the brain that's basically him?
Because they shared the same brain. So if they would, let's say they would have cut out a portion of her brain in the back, it probably would have messed with her motor skills.
I mean,
it could have killed her.
Pushing a whole nother brain on top.
It wasn't a whole. No. It was just a face because they shared a brain.
So they shared the brain.
His face was growing from the brain. Like his brain was, Gabriel's brain and her brain were connected. So it's like they shared a brain and he was growing out of her back. So it wasn't like they were only conjoined at the brain. He was only connected right there. So like.
Yeah, I know, but like their brain together was enlarged. Why would you not try to take out as much of him at the brain part as much as possible? Because that's the issue. It's not his body that's the issue. His arms aren't talking through the radio or whatnot.
No, well, Dr. Is it Fisher?
I don't remember.
She says at some point before the delivery of the cut out the cancer line that there's no way for them to do it without killing Emily too. They attempted it, but it's not possible because of the connection at the brain, which that's a plot MacGuffin. The script said so that's really why they didn't do it. But to your point, and to our audience, our listeners' points, none of this is backed up by actual science. This is a literal James Wan put together a story to tell his story. And I didn't mind it. Like it's 1993, right? So at that time, Ben Carson could have probably done the surgery successfully. Right? Like back then when we still liked him and he's the only doctor at the time to successfully do a conjoined twin operation. He probably could have done it, but he didn't. So
Side note, bro, people at my church gave me Ben Carson books while we were at Meg's.
Wow. I have one. I had one. My mom had a copy of his books because he from back in the day. He was once a revered, respected doctor
Yes, man.
before he started opening his political mouth.
You talk about somebody who fell off.
Talk about a disappointment, because can't take away from his achievements and what he's done, but it was disappointing to hear that from somebody that I held in such a high regard.
It wasn't really sad to hear it. It was more so like, you can't be this stupid being so smart. Because like, if you can think how you like, whatever political spectrum you decide to go on, but it's
True,
like,
facts.
I need your statements to be coherent, and I need you to at least feel like you Google or look something up before you start
Right.
talking. And it was never like it.
You can't speak on what's happening in the Black community if you're not in tune or tapped with what's actually going on in the Black community.
Yeah. And it wasn't just those either. He would just say some like really easily, hey, that's not true type
Shit, you
type
can
stuff.
Google and
Like-
like, nah, that's
like-
not
Yeah, it's like, that's not true, bro. Like,
that didn't
you
happen,
getting-
fam.
Yeah,
So
like,
it's
why
not
you
a
getting
thing.
here and saying this? Like, ain't you? I thought you was smart.
Ain't you a doctor?
Yeah, like, ain't you a doctor?
You a doctor, bro?
How'd you get your degree if you just dumb? Like,
I taught that in med school. That's great. But so, not to get off track, so they stuffed Gabriel back into his sister's skull, and for some reason her head doesn't get bigger. But whatever.
no,
You
no. Her head does look big the entire movie. Like, when I watched it, I was like, because the first thing I said to first thing I said to Jacoy, I was like, why look like her wig just sitting on her head?
I mean, I think that was an obvious, like it was sitting on her, but I'm like, at the same time, I'm trying to think like from our lens, it doesn't look like
Right here it does.
Like the way she would have a whole, like, because when he becomes him, his shit come out. And it's like, yo, this nigga's doing peekaboo out the back of her damn head.
Yeah.
Like, you would think you would kind of see at least.
Yeah, because like I said once he actually came out the back of her head and I seen it, I was like, that's why her head was so fucking big. I was like, that's why her wig just looked like it wasn't a wig, it was her hair. I was like, that's why her hair just looked like it's just sitting on her head like a wig, because she got a fucking
split the back,
a whole fucking head back there.
a whole
waiting to come out.
nigga in the back of her head.
Hey, you remember last week when I said I've seen something like this before? It was on Harry Potter.
Yeah, Voldemort early.
Yeah. That's why I was like, I've seen something like this, but it was on Harry Potter. Now I thought about it.
He was chilling in the back of her boy shit.
I mean, took the wrap off. Hey, what's up, bitches?
Took off his do-rag. Voldemort
What's
was
crack-a-lackin'? I heard y'all was talking magic over here.
Heard y'all was talking about some spells and shit.
Let me show you something.
Let me tell you something, Shadi. So
Hold on. Speaking of Harry Potter, you guys give off Slytherin energy. I just like to say that.
I am Slytherin. Thank you very much.
Don't know what the fuck that is, bro.
Slytherin is dark magic, pretty much.
Oh, dope. Cool. So yeah, all about that. So thanks, Carl. So they stuffed my man back in his sister's head. She malpractice. Instead of being decent human beings and doctors and telling the family what's going on, they stuff all this shit into a box and put it in the bottom of the hospital in the basement of the records department, which back in the 90s, for you new kids, in the 90s, before we had computers and, and digital storage, we had to physically store stuff. So most office buildings had a whole floor that was dedicated to records. And you could go in any building, any school, and ask for the records department
cabinets.
and go to a floor full of filing cabinets.
Here you are. Here you are. Here's James Worthy's stats from when he played fucking basketball.
And I say that to say, like, it trips me out that nobody has to do that anymore. You had to Dewey Decimal your way into some fucking information anywhere. So that's what they did. So they put Emily up for adoption, and she gets taken in by a sweet family who doesn't know she has an evil demon brother living in the back of her head. And she grows up throughout life. Like, fast forward, she's in her late 20s, early 30s,
Yeah.
married, unhappily,
To a abusive,
to a son of
non-working.
a
You know,
real
just
Chad energy, real Brad, Kyle, Chad energy. He's just
Hey,
a
was it just
total
me?
frat.
Hold on. Was it just me or did he hit her hard? God dang,
Bro.
he hit her hard, man.
No.
I mean,
bro.
bruh, like,
That was some UFC type shit.
yeah,
So
man.
we are not
Bruh,
championing
that was
of
like Ray
domestic.
Rice on the elevator hard. Like,
No, straight up, we're not championing domestic abuse or violence, but the movie does not hide or shy you away from the fact that her husband is extremely abusive with prejudice, and so much to the point it's kind of over the top because although his actions are very serious, his rhetoric going along with it is completely unfound. Just like what? Because the typical signs: pregnant wife walks in, she's pregnant AF, she can't move, she's holding it back. I just need to rest, and he throws a total bitch fit because she turns the TV off. Like it's over the top, right? She cuts the TV off, and he's just, hey, I was watching that, babe. It's
Well,
like,
no, he got mad because she was.
he gets, yeah, and we know what it is, but he's selling the total douchiness. Like it's an over the top selling the douche, but you're quickly snapped out of it because it's almost borderline like, oh, really? Like, really, bro? But they set you up and set the tone because immediately he flips the switch. He's mad at her for the pregnancy, mad at her, this is like her third or fourth miscarriage. And so, yeah, he slams her head up against the wall. He gets really aggressive with her. Not an easy scene to watch for some people. But this is what is the catalyst to resurrect Gabriel. And what happens next from there, Banks? It's mind you, her shit gets busted open pretty good.
Yeah,
like there's blood on the wall.
Like when we say she gets hit hard,
Yeah,
like it's like on some injustice type shit. Like runs her into the wall, like face palms her and pushes her head into the wall. And like, cause when I said, God damn.
Yeah, it snaps you out of the moment, kind of like, oh shit. And then typical abuser fashion. Oh, babe, I'm so sorry. He drops down. I'm sorry. Can I get you some ice? Like, nigga, you see
give
the
me
blood
some ice,
on the
bitch,
wall? Like, what the fuck is ice gonna do?
Yeah,
get
bitch,
some
my skull is
gauze
bleeding.
and a doctor,
I don't
bro.
need no ice. I need you to get the fuck out.
Yeah, what the fuck was ice? Like, people are, let's get some ice. Like, what the fuck is that gonna do?
Yeah,
I really just thought about that. Like,
it's not a bruise, dummy. My head's bleeding.
Her brains are on the wall, fam, because you just
it's pretty much like a brain injury because he hit so hard that it woke up a malignant.
Yeah, she's concussed. She's concussed, and that's where and he never comes back with the ice. Yeah, I think he leaves and goes and gets a beer and sits down on the couch because the movie at this point where she leans over and passes out. And the next scene we get is a back shot. He's downstairs on the couch chilling. So I don't even think he ever ran and brought back the fucking ice he offered to get in the first place. Dick. So that's the setup, by the way. Go ahead, babe.
And this fool
Go ahead, Carl.
And this fool had the nerve to say, it's like, I've been trying, I quit drinking. So it was worse. It was worse.
So, and I say this, some people may be confused as to why I'm laughing because this is all a lead up. Okay. Yeah. The movie is making you don't feel bad for this character.
You're fiending for that first kill.
You're fiending for what's happening because that the only reason they've established this much of an asshole factor in him is because he's probably about to get really
about to get wrecked. And he does. He gets his shit wrecked.
The previews kind of set this up as a paranormal thing, and I'm not going to ruin that just yet, not going to shed light on that yet, but walk us through the next scene, Banks.
So, as Ted Bundy Jr. is sitting on the couch, he gets a beer, and lights go out because Gabriel is just doing his electricity thing as he does. Lights go out. He flips the switch. He looks over some kind of shadowy cluster of something.
Oh, but it's important to note we don't know that he can control the lights yet.
Yeah, we don't know that.
At this point in the movie,
we kind of do in the beginning because he's controlling the lights in the beginning.
Well, later you can connect those dots later on because it gives a more detailed explanation of exactly what that is. But he's very much manipulating the electromagnetic, so he can control the lights, broadcast his voice. He can manipulate the wavelength somehow. But at this point in the movie, that may or may not be clear if you're watching, because it all kind of, the way the transition works is kind of almost into a paranormal kind of experience.
Yeah, they're trying to trick you.
Yeah, we get Emily, our main character, witnessing all of this from her perspective. So it's kind of like she's seeing another world. So go ahead, babe. Sorry,
Well, she doesn't see this one.
Oh yeah, this one, yeah. That's sorry, I was just trying to hit. Yeah.
So Ted Bundy Jr. is downstairs. He sees like a shadowy clump, like some furniture, and then fucking Gabriel's long, dreadful hair in silhouette stands up.
The hair is a good sell for me.
Yeah, it stands up, and this man's like, "Oh, what the hell is?"
Right.
He, panics, runs away, tries to turn on the lights, and then Gabriel pops up behind him, and then freaking Street Fighter 2 Alpha Plus punches this man in the side of the head, and into the wall he goes. So
I don't think it was a punch.
I think it was a palm strike.
No, I feel like it was a return, maybe like a palm, and he slammed his shit up against the corner of the wall.
Whatever he did. And
Gabriel is strong, in case y'all didn't know. So it never clearly shows this, but to explain the strength factor, they are essentially. Do you want to go ahead and spill this now?
Go ahead.
They're two people in one.
Yeah.
So she has this twin, right? But the muscle mass is that of two. The speed, the strength, everything is essentially two. When Gabriel takes over, I think that's kind of, that is somewhat alluded to, but there's some science behind that, like in moments of great stress, your average human being could quadruple their muscle mass to get, if you're under pressure, that's how you would explain people being able to accomplish seemingly impossible tasks in moments of great duress, right? Like a mother being able to lift the car up off their baby or something, whatever, being able to charge into a burning building and not be affected by the smoke inhalation because the adrenaline rush just boom, 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 in and out. Not to say that, that's a long term, that's just something doable. But I think the idea is that they're always kind of, when Gabriel's in control, because he's seemingly tapped into the higher functionality of the brain, because he can completely cut Emily off and he takes over when he's doing these things. So to that extent, I think he's kind of utilizing, they're always kind of hyped up like a Bane Venom type situation. Like when Gabriel's in control, everything's on 100%. So they're able to kind of, you see the agility, the heightened reflexes, shit like that, the functionality that, being able to move in ways that humans normally wouldn't, all of that. So I think this face palm it's a forceful, like, if you're wondering how he's able to, because when we see the aftermath, your man's head is 12 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 9 o'clock. He's at 6 o'clock. And the rest of his body's at 12 o'clock. And his feet are at 9 o'clock.
Man neck looks like a damn slinky.
He is fucked 5 ways to Sunday.
I think Gabriel was more in tune into the emotional portion of the brain, especially with how angry he always was, even from when the time they were children or whatnot. But going back to that scene that you guys were talking about, it was almost so swift and sudden. It almost looked like, to me, he almost cut his head off, kind of like what are those things called in A Quiet Place?
The Death Angels.
The Death Angels.
It almost looked like a death angel, like chopped off like part of his neck or whatnot. To me, but that's how quick and powerful it was. But yeah,
had my man's, and the overall lay of his corpse when the cops find it, it's cartoonish. It's like his neck is all he's just twisted up.
Man, in the corner, stretched out like a Family Guy character. Yeah, he was jacked.
So that's our first kill of the movie, and at that point, do we even get a title card? Is that when Malignant? I can't recall if it ever.
I don't even remember when Malignant popped up.
Yeah, I don't think it popped up on the screen, but Emily goes on. per usual as expected, she's not as you would expect. She doesn't exactly miss the husband. It's traumatizing as it is, but she's a person of interest. The police are trying to figure out what's going on and what happens next, Bex.
And they pretty much blame her. Well, they take her in as a suspect. Not take her in, but they look at her as a suspect because people were saying that they were always fighting. So normal horror movie stuff. Somebody's killing people in your house. There's no suspects, so they look at you. Cops would keep looking at her. They start investigating into her. Her sister comes into the picture. She doesn't know she's adopted yet. So they go on this journey. They kind of go down this path until, she tells her, "Look, I'm adopted," and then that's when the younger sister kind of like starts digging into her past and stuff because she's trying to clear her name because the cops are pretty much blaming her for this murder and the next murder.
Yeah, the next murder. So we
I think the black lady is the main pusher of that narrative because like once they established like there was no like forced entry in the house, and then that the husband used to knock her around that no forced entry and she has motive. Well, but I think the thing that kept the white guy and like the other cops off bay it's just they said like the footprints like move backwards, and then like when you see like the force it took to do that to him, like nobody's looking at her thinking she can do that.
Yeah.
So a definite fake out with that. The black cop is Nicole Brianna White, portraying Detective Regina Moss, and she's partnered up with George Young, Detective Kakoa. So he's our strapping young hero, right? He's going to rescue Emily from herself, or so we think. So what unravels is as her sister's kind of going down the rabbit hole to find out the truth about Emily, we see a random woman get kidnapped, and she's set up, tied up crucifixion style somewhere in a dark attic, and Gabriel has his moments. And then what sets off is Gabriel begins to check the names off the boxes. He's got some avenging to do. And so what better place to start than with the original staff that decided to try to cut out cancer, as he so eloquently puts it. So he starts stalking down the original hospital staff. And I think our first victim is Dr. Fisher.
I'm trying to remember.
Dr. Florence.
It was the main doctor. The main doctor was the first one to die because that's where he got the weapon from.
I was trying to get her name, though, the doctor's name, Dr. Florence Weaver. Excuse me. I kept calling her Fisher. Dr. Florence Weaver. So, yeah, she's the first doctor that gets it. And this is the first time we get to see Emily kind of witness.
Comment.
Go ahead, girl.
No, I was saying she made the cancer comment.
Yeah, she's the one who decided it was time to cut out that damn cancer. So this is the first time we see Emily get the POV where she's there, and this is the cell on the paranormal, because she's essentially witnessing this murder in what she believes is real time, and what we later discover is it is real time. She's there, but she's watching from the inside, from the back of her own mind. She's watching things happen, unfold through Gabriel's. So Dr. Weaver gets tossed around pretty brutal, pretty aggressively. I was expecting like a washing machine body slam here.
Yeah.
Or a head slam in the washing machine. Like I thought the detectives were going to find her body in her washer dryer set or something, just butchered and bloodied up. But we get a kitchen kill instead.
Yeah. It was in the kitchen. I thought he killed in the washroom just with the thing.
No, because she crawls through the living room.
Yeah, she's in the kitchen.
Oh, yeah.
Goes for a knife. And this is what I particularly appreciated this scene, because in slashers, it's so typical. There's only so many weapons that your antagonist is going to use, right? Butcher knife, machete, chainsaw, axe, hatchet, something of the sort, buck knife, ghostface, right? Gabriel chooses a award, psychology award or something like that, from a sort off of her trophy case. Uses the opposite of it and just beats her. Brutally beats her. But again, the oversell, it's a very cartoonish the sound effects. It almost sounds like a cartoon. It's just, at first you're like, oh shit, but it kind of breaks down. It's like, wait, what? Did he just hit a watermelon or did he? Because it's a little over the top on purpose, but nonetheless, it sets the tone. Gabriel means business, right?
One thing I will say about the movie in itself, well, Gabriel in itself, his kills, you can see why they happen. Or so like in real life, most murders happen with people who know each other. They're usually crimes of passion or high emotion, and that's him to like the T.
I don't know if I can say that for most murders because I'm a true crime addict and I've gone down one too many serial killer rabbit holes. A lot of times they didn't know those victims. But
okay, now, true crime, the
not
documentary
serial killers. I'm talking about like
like true crimes that have actually happened.
Oh, okay.
But I'm not saying that you're not wrong, Carl. I don't know the statistics on the crimes of passion. Like stark difference between murder is murder, but stark difference between serial killers and mitigating circumstance, like a crime of passion, or
That's true. No, that is true. Like serial killers operate on a different frequency.
And there may be some emotion. There is some sort of emotion tied to something, but oftentimes it's the sociopathic aspect. They're apathetic. Like maybe the trauma. I'm not a psychiatrist, audience. Maybe the trauma could be tied to some sort of deep emotional trauma or something like that, or emotional abuse. But it's not uncommon. Just extremely narcissistic sociopaths who are apathetic, wouldn't have a problem. It kind of makes me think about a statement Ashiki made in that one anime when he, long before he realized he had the power of God, he says, I wouldn't care if I found out those people died. Like I care about the people I know and I love, but in terms of other people, don't give a shit. Complete disconnection from humanity, right?
Yeah. So the villain in Inuyashiki, like his textbook, like what you were saying about serial killer or whatnot. They don't necessarily have a motive. It's just like it's more or less a screw loose.
I think in Ashiki's case, and not to get too off track, but once he realized that nobody could stop him and he was consequence free, he was pretty much, absolute power corrupts absolutely. And he explores that. And on the opposite end, the old man is using it for the betterment of humanity and trying to do good with it. But yeah, so not to get off track, Gabriel, and you might be right, like it's definitely coming from a place of rage. All of these murders, initial ones, are brutal, intentionally. And he's kind of narrating us along the way because he's very clear about why he's killing, who he's killing. And, this is the same team that cut off his arms, his little T-Rex arms, cut off half my man's face, got him out here looking real Phantom of the Opera-ish, and then stuffed him back in his sister's skull. Hell yeah, this nigga pissed. He pissed all the way off. And that's where he's been dormant for the last 20 years, just in the back of her mind, rent free. So
here's a big question of mine. Maybe you guys can answer this. Okay, so how in the world does that one cop go mano a mano with him? And then he goes on that spree at the end. Like I don't I don't see how that's possible.
He didn't.
The cop got his ass whooped.
The cop got his ass whooped.
He got his ass whooped.
He was like,
he ran though.
He ran on purpose.
I know, but that's my thing. So Gabriel tried to
wait, chasing Gabriel is the same as going one-on-one with him?
He tried to kill him in that apartment with the third doctor, but the cop surprised him or whatnot, and once he started popping off a few of those shells or whatnot, he ran. And even in that underground layer or whatnot, they tussled a little bit, and he ran again.
I think Gabriel's mindset, he's not invincible. Like Gabriel can be killed, and he can't get his sister killed because then he's, I don't know if it's a situation where if she died, could Gabriel then still live? I think I would think that it would, if something happens, they're fucked. Close range like that, yeah, I think Gabriel running from a gun. The end of the movie, now that other than being an obvious plot MacGuffin, maybe you attribute that to the fact that Gabriel's adrenaline is rushing and he's in survival mode. You'll do the impossible in survival mode. But however, Gabriel's response in that instance, because it kind of kicks off a little chase. And this is not after Dr. Weaver's dead. The third kill is when the chase happens, right? At this point, I think we get the reveal. Banks. Sis has gone down the rabbit hole and come to find the tapes, and she's taking them back to mom's house, adopted mom. So now they're watching, and we get some flashbacks that Emily. We find out all along throughout Emily's life what they believed to be an imaginary friend was actually Gabriel in the back of her mind, always present. When her adopted mom was pregnant with her sister, Gabriel had her convinced that she needs to kill the baby. And that's the first time we see at a young age that he's been able to tap into the back of her cerebral and kind of manipulate what's going on or what she's seeing and experiencing. So next on the doctor list is Dr. Victor Fields. He's the doc in the beginning that he said something. Is he the one that suggested the electroshock, or he said something?
I know he was one of the doctors present.
He says something significant early, but Gabriel comes for him. You want to walk us through that one, that scene, Carl or Banks?
I think this one was the funniest one because not funny, but like it was crazy.
No, it was funny. It was funny.
When you see it, you'd be like, "What the fuck is going on?" So like Gabriel sneaks into his apartment to
Spider-Man's his way through the window, right?
Yeah, he Spider-Man's his way through the window, and then the old
can
man.
we give Gabriel his flowers for the creativity?
No,
like it's such a calculated approach versus the typical "I'm gonna stalk you, let you run, slow walk you." Like Gabriel has spent 20 years thinking this shit out. So go ahead, bro. I wanted to shout him out.
Yeah,
it's a creative look.
This man, Bruce Wayne's Spider-Man's up into the window. The old guy like goes to the window, realizes there's water on the floor, which I would have been like, hell no, let me leave. Who the hell put this water on the floor? It wasn't me.
Red flag number 1, right?
He ignores it. He goes into the bathroom, takes a bath, gets in bed, and then Gabriel like straddles him while he's asleep. And then as he's waking up, Gabriel's like reverse punching this man because Gabriel's back.
And this is the first time we get to see it. Like it actually get a full shot at what is going on with Gabriel.
So like, you got arms. So when you pull your arm straight, he go like this. Gabriel's in the bed doing like this.
He's the backwards man.
So, he's holding the knife and he's got his arm up like this. And then once he started stabbing dude, I was kind of like, oh shit. But I was kind of like, what's going on with his arm?
Right.
So you see the man just getting stabbed like this.
And you also see flashes, I think, of Emily's face briefly in the turn. Because Gabriel, the rotation set, you don't get a full shot, but the way he's rotating, it intentionally, it looks creepy. It looks weird. It's kind of like, wait, what? Like a human body.
Like it threw me for a loop.
Right.
I'm not gonna lie. Yeah. I'm like, man, what the hell? What is this? What is? So
and that adds to the creep effect because it almost looks like a practical play animation movement, kind of.
Yeah.
In real time, though.
Yeah.
So
I agree because even at this point, you're not exactly even too sure what Gabriel exactly is. Either.
Right. And Emily is witnessing this happen, laying in the bed right next to our victim.
Yeah.
So Gabriel takes the trophy, psychology trophy, and it's kind of an elongated
it's a medical cross.
Yeah, medical cross, but it's the end. He sharpened it to a very well fashioned into a very sharp blade. So he just goes to town stabbing right through this man's face till there's literally nothing but some
bottom teeth.
And the bottom row is teeth. This just look like little chiclets, bro. You remember the little candy?
It was just sticking out like.
Man had dolphin teeth, man. You see that shit?
Yeah, it was just. just his bottom teeth. And it's funny because it was crazy how it was looking. He was like, I will like it's just really weird looking.
So at this point, if you're not into the movie, you definitely are now. Like it's a 100%. Oh shit. Our cop shows up.
Yeah. Well, the girl calls him. The girl calls him and is like, "Hey,
they go to the police station.
Yeah, hey, I know that somebody was murdered in this place."
Right.
And then since she tells them what he was murdered, what room he was in, blah blah blah, it just draws more suspicion to her. So the cops are looking more to her, which makes the guy cop closer to the sister because they like each other instead of him liking the main character like he usually would be in most scary movies. He likes the sister instead.
Right. But the cop actually, at the time that Emily's calling, it is happening. Gabriel's, because I think this scene is meant to set that up. And it's also kind of, it'll throw you off if you read too far into it, because in a sense, we get this idea that she's conscious, like, hey, you need to get there. Something, this is happening. And it is very much. Because he shows up right at the last minute. Murder's just happening. Gabriel's on his way out. Cop gets wind, pokes out the window, sees Gabriel, so he's going after him. Or they get into it in the apartment, right? Gabriel comes down from the ceiling and tries to nix him or something like that.
Yeah, he tries to stab him.
Yeah.
While they tussle a little bit on the bathroom floor.
Yeah, a tussle ensues, followed by a chase. He woo, Carl, you beat me to it. I was about to say a little tussle, but so Gabriel jumps out the window, full Spider-Man, still active, and he is cartwheeling down the fire escape. Like, impossible.
It is so weird looking.
But also doing this backwards. And now we're getting to see, because the cops kind of noticing, like from Detective Kakoa's point of view, we're kind of seeing throughout this whole chase, we're seeing just how funny this shit looks. And Gabriel's doing a lot of, it feeds more to the ghost paranormal activity. Because now you're getting to see, is he backwards or is he just a janky ass demon? Right? Because even the walking movements, everything is kind of disconjointed and looks like it's unnatural and painful. But again, really good practical effect, because essentially it's just the actress that plays Gabriel, Marina Mazeppa, or Mazeppa. So it's a woman portraying him that's obviously the same height of Annabelle Wallace, who plays Emily, our main character. But she's walking around backwards a lot. Just, it's brilliant. So cop chases him through the city, through sewer in the train station. And we see how strong Gabriel is, because at one point in this chase, as if the cartwheeling down the fire escape wasn't enough, Gabriel kicks out a nice amount of bricks in the wall, and then Crab walks into the hole he made.
He kicked out that car too.
Yeah. So Gabriel does a few things that, upon sight, if I'm a detective seeing these things happen, I'm thinking, fuck that.
I'm calling SWAT.
Hold on. I know I wasn't the only one thinking like, this dude, this character has lost his mind. Like, who in the world is running after this thing by themselves?
Cop was a Boy Scout, Carl, straight up, through and through. Because
that is stupidity right there. That is classic stupidity. Like, the moment I'm watching him jump off this fire escape 2 floors at a time, stick the landing like it's nothing, I'm just like, oh yeah, this is a time for backup. Like, I want to get you, but I don't want to get you that bad where I'm not gonna make it out of wherever I'm chasing you.
Yo, remember in Men in Black, Will Smith, the same shit? He saw an alien literally jump down the fire escape, and then nothing looked normal about the shit, but then just said, and went in pursuit. It's like the logic, like I just saw some shit, nothing looks right, but you know what? Protect and serve. I was a cop. I got to go.
I'm about to protect my ass. That's what I'm about to protect. I'm about to pop back up.
When I saw first off, the costume is intimidating enough. Big black trench coat, collar popped all the way, can't see the face, long goth Marilyn Manson-esque hair, black gloves. When I see a sinister looking character like that kick a brick wall, kick a hole in the brick wall, and then backwards crab walk into that mug, like Exorcist style,
Bro, I would have been done after I seen this motherfucker do
Yeah,
cartwheels
back
down
up.
the fire escape.
Yeah, back up. I'm gonna need some holy water.
Suspect is in pursuit. We need.
A suspect just spidered into the sewers. Get a priest and yeah,
I
fuck
need
that. I'm off.
everybody on duty.
But the cop, true to his moral compass, he pursues. And Gabriel has lured him into all advantages are to Gabriel in this setting. They're somewhere in the basement sewer. The Phantom of the Opera must live here. The Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Yeah, another tussle. Cop gets his ass whooped before he remembers he has a gun. And he manages to get a couple shots off post, but no cigars. Gabriel escapes. So
there were 2 times I thought characters were dead that they surprised me and let them live.
That's a good choice of words, Carl. Let them live. That's exactly what happened.
Because he definitely could have killed that cop if he wanted to in that sewer.
And he doubles back and points that out to the cop at some point later on with my favorite line of the movie. If my blade would have punched a hole in your face, would you have taken that personal? I love when killers talk shit. Yeah. I love when they talk shit because you don't often get killers who have a voice in a horror movie. Scream was kind of one of the first movies to establish that. Excluding, Psycho, yeah. Black Christmas gave, Billy has a voice, but in terms of a narrative throughout the movie, I think Scream was one of the first movies that really gave a killer or slashers the voice. So Gabriel has no problem talking shit and letting them know. In fact, he's told them at this point, this sets up the third and final act of the movie. And we get Gabriel kind of being open about what's going to happen next. He lets them know because at one point they bring Emily in for questioning. We've got too many bodies, not an answer, not a lead, and she knows all the right information. So they bring her in for an interrogation. And we kind of get a back and forth when we get the full reveal because mom and sister are now watching the final tapes of Emily's case study. And we see exactly what Gabriel is and what happens. But Gabriel comes over in the middle of the interrogation and tells the cops, like, fuck y'all, I'm gonna kill y'all, yeah, I'm still out here. Y'all got the wrong one. I was in her house the whole time, right? Am I ahead of the game with mom falling? The reveal that it was their mom in the attic?
No, that's why she went to jail.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
The mom got loose, fell through the house while they were there.
Yeah, and that's why they took her into jail.
So the rando we see kidnapped but not killed, it turns out is Gabriel and Emily's biological mother, who is portrayed by, I think, Jean Louisa Kelly. She portrays Serena May. Because Emily, her name is Emily May. So Serena May, portrayed by Jean Louisa Kelly. So they arrest Emily. Mom is in the hospital. Gabriel's tools are in the evidence locker. Stage is set for the final act. I'll let you kick us off, man.
So final act,
this was so unrealistic.
It's not unrealistic, Carl. Don't.
The whole movie's been unrealistic, Carl.
I'm talking about this. You mean to tell me this lady's just sitting there in jail, minding her business, and these just random women just gonna come over her and decide to beat the crap out of her?
Yeah.
It wasn't because it wasn't her minding her business. It's the fact that she's obviously green and it shows. And her uncomfortability kind of suggests a little weak. Now I'll admit in a holding cell, kind of like, that's a lot of people, but it's kind of the idea.
It's like 30 people in a holding cell.
It's like in a holding cell, like, damn, but I don't know how they're in LA, right? Where are they at?
I don't know.
Is that where this?
I don't know where the place is.
Yeah, different strokes, different places, right? I think this story is set in LA or some shit. I thought it was, but yeah, they've got like 30 of them in this holding cell, processing, obviously, right? Intake. So they're not going anywhere yet, but it's her uncomfort. She's obviously looking at people, judging, and I think that's what provokes them to fuck with her. It's a little bit exaggerated because I think even an adult in Emily's situation you kind of know when you go, if you've ever been in a situation, you know, a DUI, something like that, locked up in any scenario like that, is the last place you want to be casting judgmental looks at somebody. You know, I think you've seen enough TV to know, even if it's a simple traffic offense, if you have to get booked process, you don't look and stare at people, and you know what I mean? So she's obvious, like, oh no, little lamb in the lion's den is kind of the setup here. So the obvious ensues. They start to fuck with her. Right.
Yeah, and they stomp her out.
Now that was it was like, oh damn, they really just gonna beat the shit out of her? Like, what? Jeez, but whatever. The movie has the movie. Because we really just need a reason for Gabriel to snap out of it and take control and do what he does best, which is get out of pickles. So they beat her to a fucking pulp. Like, really beat her. Like, it goes beyond getting punched and thrown to the ground. Like, they start stomping her shit in, kicking her, Brooklyn style, jumping her, when somebody's holding her feet. You know, it's really bad. And Gabriel takes over.
And yeah, and he lets loose in that cell.
First victim
like,
gets their neck ripped out. Like, we see a chick get her neck bit all the way out. Nice little stretchy blood. It's a good practical effect. And from there, we know that, oh yeah, this shit's about to get nasty. So,
and that's when we find out that Gabriel's actually in the back of her skull because her skull splits open.
This is the reveal.
And
her eyes. Go ahead, Max. Go ahead.
Gabriel pushes himself out of the back of her head, which, like he's been doing throughout the whole movie. And this is when you actually realize that Gabriel and her are like still conjoined.
One and the same, yeah. And it's a good scene because how it's done, it's like she's losing her mind, right? And it's a lot of rotating camera, but it's actually Gabriel ripping the back of her head open to emerge. It's kind of a dope take on what you, because it would be the opposite of Superman ripping his shirt, you know, kind of a dark, twisted take on that. In a sense, he's breaking free and taking full control, because we see Emily loses all control. Like, her eyes roll in the back of her head, her bones start to do that weird double jointed, you know, like everything. We see the metamorphosis. Gabriel assumes full control, and he lets loose. He lets all out hell loose in this cell. And we count about 20 to 30 people in the cell. He kills every single one of them.
Everybody in there, too. It wasn't
everybody.
Just people that beat them up. It was everybody.
But not just kills them. Gabriel goes full John Wick on him. He suddenly knows some sort of martial art.
Wait, there's more. He doesn't stop with them.
He knows mixed martial arts. He's breaking shit, arms. Like, he's doing all sorts of shit that we never knew Gabriel could do. So, there's one survives. She calls the CO because she has to. We need a way for Gabriel to get a hold of keys, because he can't just murder all these women in his cell and not have a way to escape out of it, because the cops would just come and shoot him, right? So, and that's what this cop does. Cop gets too close. Gabriel kills the last one in front of him. Cop gets too close, goes for his gun. Gabriel grabs him, pulls him in, gets his face introduced to some steel bars.
Yeah.
Snatches those keys. Now Gabriel's loose in the precinct. And it gets progressively worse.
This is the part where I say I don't get it. I mean, like you guys mentioned, this is a little bit of a plot magic going on here. A little
100% plot armor, 100%, Carl. I can't even disagree with you. I can't disagree with you.
So Gabriel goes from running away, full-blown escape mode from one cop, but then goes, now this is where I 100%, he gets his John Wick on 1,000%. I'm talking about, like, there's got to be at least, I would say, 40 cops there, and they can't, he doesn't even have on, like, the bulletproof suits John Wick, and it's like they're shooting blanks. Like, he's used, like, I don't, maybe he's got a fog machine, because he's just like hiding behind pillars.
You know what it is, Carl? It's the suit. I think it gave him his powers, because remember, he told the cops, he's like, "Where's my shit? I want my shit back." He warned them. He told he's like, I want my shit because it's mine and I want it now. And they wouldn't give it to him. So first order of business, he goes down to the evidence locker and gets his gear. And when that happened, it's like Super Saiyan. Like this Gabriel went.
He's like doing triple flips in the air and shit.
Yeah. Once he put on that trench coat, it was a wrap.
When he put the trench on and he sharpened, it's like, oh yeah, the gloves complete the look. Michael Jackson, he moonwalking all across the precinct because, and we get this now. We get this quirky CSI investigator who actually happens to be that's Ingrid Bisu. I think that's James Wan's wife, but she plays CST Winnie is the character's name. We think that she's likable, kind of that aloof character. She's obviously in love with the detective, but she's really smart, right? But she's more enamored and fascinated with the murders and not actually, oh, it's a real crime. This guy's dangerous. We get a scene where Gabriel, we hear the bloodbath that's leading because he knows exactly where the evidence locker is. So he's coming for his shit, right? And we can hear the body count piling up on his way. Cops are getting wrecked left and right. All you hear is occasional scream, gunshot, people are getting fucked up. The way they did this was so dope. Gabriel gets to the door and it's all silent. And Winnie's kind of looking like, the fuck? And you think, is he going to kick the door off? Is he going to rip the door off? Gabriel got a cop's key card. He swipes that shit. In he comes, right? And he starts shuffling around, grabs all this shit, laces back up, boots back on. What'd you call it? Medical trophy sharp, knife ready. It's time to go. Go action. And he goes from 0 to 100, 200. And we get to see it. In the main precinct cop hall, every single cop gets slaughtered. Vaughn, walk us through
It was great. It was gold medal gymnastics going on in there. He was like doing, like I say, he was doing triple flips over tables and stuff. Like
Simone Biles would have been like,
he was in there going, and then he did my favorite part, which was throw the chair 60 yards like a Aaron Rodgers bullet pass over and hits both of the cops in the back as they're trying to run away because he just slaughtered everybody in the room. And he hits him with perfect accuracy, right in the numbers.
Bruh. That's some of that. Because you get to see Gabriel really like, obviously, I don't know if he's been training all these years while Emily's been sleeping some shit, but he's got some moves. And these are, cops they're supposed to be trained at least to some extent, but he makes them look like little children. We've got cops who are point blank aiming and he's stepping out the way, breaking an arm, spinning a cop around, human shield, using another cop to shoot other cops. Like it's all sorts of havoc. He's knifing people, he's shooting people back. And to add further insult to injury at the end of it, because even our main Detective Moss and Detective Koa, Detective Moss gets her stomach sliced open trying to be tough. Gabriel shows her real quick, please sit down. Detective Kakoa, I think he's concussed from earlier just catching some roundhouse or something like that. Like Gabriel really, he just kind of lets everybody have it unfiltered and unadulterated. And he picks up this chair as if he's about to escape because I think he was going to throw it through the window, or at least the scene sets you up like he's about to break the window. And instead, he adds another turn and throws this chair from one end of the precinct hall to the other and hits both cops dead the fuck on in the back while they are in retreat. It is the most petty thing I've ever seen a slasher do.
And they just go,
they're waving the white flag, limping away. One trying to hold her intestines from falling out. Like they've given up. They've tapped out. And this, like Gabriel, fuck all that noise. Y'all should have tried in the first place. Take some.
Bro, that was so funny.
Breaks that shit on.
So funny, dude.
Bro, yes.
They talk about a little bit at the end. Maybe this may be why he's so strong. Well, as we mentioned in the past, Gabriel doesn't really like her sister
at all.
He very much so feels like the sister is a threat to pretty much him and like their relationship. I mean, because as we know, he's basically a parasite. Everything any and everything that he has is basically through like his sister. So
Right.
so the stronger their relationship is, or the more he can speak with her and conversate with her, the more opportunity he has to come out in the outside world and control her. And with the emergence of her sister, she doesn't need to talk to him anymore. She can form a relationship with her. So at the end, where you see like where you see he's about to kill her, he said, "Oh, I was saving you for last," because the
Mm.
hatred. It's ironic. These people basically who did this to him know, like, he hates the sister more than any of them. Like, he hates her even more than the mom who gave them up for adoption or whatnot. He hates the sister more.
And
And
he's not wrong, is he?
huh?
He's not, to his point. He's not really wrong. Like everything that Gabriel said is exactly what happened in his life, and it comes full circle in this final scene. Not to cut
But
you off, but go ahead.
it's ironic. It is well, it may not be ironic, but it's coy that the sister is the reason why she's able to take control back, because she points out, she said, "Listen, hey, no, you can control him. You've been controlling him for 20 so years or whatnot. The reason that he was able to even get like this is because he absorbed all the strength from the babies you were carrying.
Yeah, we get
One.
that reveal too.
And number two, when you hit your head on there, that was the crack he needed to come back out. That weakened you.
Yeah, so for our listeners who hadn't seen, at this point in the final act, Gabriel is closing in to execute his plan. Mom's in the hospital. He knows where she's at, and Emily and her sister rush in to try to prevent Gabriel from killing their mom, right? And he turns his attention and focus to the little sister, because it's like, as he reveals to Carl's point, it was always a part of the plan to kill her, like from when she was in the womb. But we get the reveal that that Emily wasn't having miscarriages. Gabriel was eating children in her womb. So that's even more like dark. And this movie really went there, because it's like, think about how sick that actually is. It glosses over the fact, but that's three more bodies like we have confirmed, like Gabriel, and we know that Gabriel, now everything makes sense as in terms of the brutality. Like, he knows no limit in his rage. He killed his sister, three of her kids by their uncle. So he don't give a fuck. Anybody can get it in Gabriel's book. And very much so, he's exacting his revenge on the people who essentially never gave him a chance on life, because we see mom apologize, right? She suddenly snaps out of her coma. Gabriel, I'm so sorry. I should have loved you. Oh. It's like, bro, way too late for that. We like 100 bodies too late for that. So I'm of the mindset that sometimes irreparable, sometimes sorry don't fix shit.
No, it does not.
Like in this,
cut my arms off.
and cut half my face off.
Yeah.
And let's not forget, y'all stuffed me back in my sister. The fuck out of here.
I'm not cutting it. I'm sorry.
Like, get out the fuck out my face with your sorries and apologies, man.
Sorry, this.
Which is exactly his Gabriel's response. Because for a moment, you kind of think like, oh, is that what it took? Is it a mother's love? Which is, some people may have called, I call this the hardest Mother's Day movie ever, because it circles back to a mother's love. Their mother didn't love them. Was she raped? She was raped. So it's not as if she was given a choice on whether she wanted to be a mother. But she gave her kids up for adoption. And, this moment, kind of a redemptive moment for her. She sees everything. She's, I'm so sorry. I should have loved you the same way. Whatever. It's too late for apologies. Gabriel decides, fuck that. Still gonna kill you. But first, let me take care of little sis. And this scene was so it shocked, because I didn't think they were gonna flip this the way they did.
Yeah.
Like, I thought he killed little sis.
I thought he killed her too.
Because there's some exchange, and he says she says her piece, and Gabriel, he's looking at her point blank with a pistol, and he says something, and he shoot like, bah, bah, but it's like, oh shit. completely caught us off
Yeah.
guard after everything we just saw, and it's like, oh, I guess he is John Wick for real. But it's a fake out.
I thought something different was about to happen because you saw her get mad. You saw her get mad when she realized what it really happened all those times, and like when her fist balled up. And remember, like Gabriel's anger is very much a key into how strong and is determined like he is. And I think when you see her like in the corner in the corner in the crevices of her mind, cowering or whatnot, it's I mean, she's every bit she's anything but angry. And you finally see her get mad, and it's like, oh,
Like
then
she
you might
taps into that same power. Like her
yeah,
anger is stronger than Gabriel's. Like her
yes.
and it's
Yeah. So like, oh, like, well, here's you mess with women's kids.
right. It's the same. Back to the mother thing. Like she, because it's not in addition to seeing the idea. Because we find out that her sister get her brains blown out is really Emily playing a mind manipulation on Gabriel. But before that moment, it's kind of very much framed to Carl's point. Um, she's processing everything, and we see Emily go from this weak, cowering, in fear individual to this pissed off, strong, like she powers up in her own way. Goes Super Saiyan 2. If Gabriel putting his coat on made him Super Saiyan, then Emily goes Super Saiyan 2, and she takes full control like that, like almost instantaneously. And suddenly, unexplained, she understands and knows how to do everything that Gabriel has been doing for 20 years or so, but better. So she plays the trick on Gabriel, and essentially we tap into a kind of a mental duel back and forth. Sister to brother confront, and Emily essentially compartmentalizes and locks Gabriel away in the dark recesses of her mind. But doesn't kill him. Kind of makes a promise that she's reclaiming her life, taking back over, and she's going to start living for her now, and she's not worried about him. And into that, Gabriel, I'll get you next time, Gadget. You can't keep me locked up forever. So they hint us at a part two, if there should be a such thing. And we kind of see sisters hugging. Slow camera pan back out. We're gonna ignore the fact that seemingly a happy ending, but let's ignore that there's still about 80 cops in the precinct dead, an additional 30 or 40 dead in a jail cell in the basement of that precinct. And there are about 4 witnesses left to corroborate the entire thing. So we don't know what the fuck's gonna happen next.
Yeah.
Oh, and there's a little flicker at the end of the light. So we don't know if what we're seeing is actually Gabriel faking out the sister, letting her think she had control, but really he about to kill all of them.
Yeah, I just think the flicker at the end just meant that Gabriel just wasn't dead. That's all. Not
Oh, yeah,
dead.
well, he can't die without Emily dying, right?
Yeah.
We know that, but it's just, I don't know if we'll need a part 2, but I'll see it. If they make it.
Wait a minute. I didn't see a flicker. There was a flicker.
The slow pan out, and there's like the lamp, it slightly flickers, like, and then it cuts off.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a tease, right? But
Because I was waiting. I when they showed that light, I was just like, oh, it's gonna flicker, but I didn't see it.
well, you know what I was waiting on, really, honestly? I was waiting on the police to show up because Gabriel kills 2 more people in the hospital before he gets to Mom. He kills a guard, a cop on duty, and he kills one of the nurses, right? And
That dude with the pacemaker.
yeah, and I'm thinking in my head, I'm like, yo, where are the cops? Where are the cops? Oh yeah, he killed all of them too back in the precinct. So,
But speaking of the cops, the black lady said, "Call the National Guard." I'm like,
yeah, she made it clear, like, yo, this thing we don't get paid enough to deal with these type of threats. Get the National Guard, the FBI. Gabriel is a threat, bro. Public enemy numero uno. So, yeah, man, that is Malignant, and it was a pleasant surprise of a film for me.
Yes, it was very entertaining.
Yeah, very entertaining. Worth the watch. So if y'all not doing shit, it's streaming on HBO Max till October 10th, I think, or 19th. But 10th or 11th film from James Wan. I liked it. It's one I'll add to my slash collection. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, I would definitely recommend it to people. It was very entertaining. But
So, but that is Malignant.
as I
Good
just
talk,
want to
guys.
say, yeah, I was gonna say it was a really good talk. We talked like a whole hour about new stuff, but that we didn't even plan on talking about. But really good talk this week. Really entertaining talk about Malignant. It's just man, that movie was great, especially like the kill scene when he killed the doctor with the backwards arm. I
Dude,
think I'll never forget that.
a lot of this movie was just that, like, just interesting little fresh spins. I want to say, like, new takes on the whole approach to how they've traditionally done slashers. And to your point, some pretty creative new ways of, excuse me, Xing out the victims, right? Like the kill count is definitely going to be one to review. I can't wait to actually catch the Dead Meat podcast on this and their kill count, because I know James AGD is probably going to do one, but I'm interested to see how many bodies were in this, because this movie put up Belko experiment numbers. Like, it was just a total gore fest towards the end, and that paid off for me, because if it stays a slasher the way it was going, I don't know if this is as enjoyable as when we get the reveal that this is some off the wall ridiculous shit, but
Yeah.
we're running with it full speed, and let's go ahead and let y'all see what Gabriel can really do. So,
So what y'all want to talk about next week?
Well, the Hubble telescope just discovered 6 massive dead galaxies from earlier in the universe. What is a dead galaxy look? Y'all think there's a zombie verse out there in our real reality?
Look, man, I don't get into space.
No zombies.
Space is
You don't know that.